Hello and welcome to today's lesson. We're doing lesson 10.5 from the Big Ideas book, and it is angle relationships in circles. So we've been looking at different central angles, inscribed angles with the vertex on the circle, the vertex at the center. So what are we going to do when we have two chords that don't meet at the circle? So if we were in school right now, we would be doing a geometry sketch pad, and I would have you measure what this arc is from A to B, and I would have you measure this arc from C to D, and I would also have you measure this angle in here. So what we find out is that the sum of the two arcs, divided by 2, so the sum of the two arcs divided by 2 equals that angle measure in the middle. Okay, so in this case, if we take arc AB and we add to it arc CD and we divide that by 2, that is going to give us the angle measure for angle AWB. All right, so we also have some different scenarios where we can have tangents or secants. So if this is a point of tangency and we go out to a point and then we have a secant coming through here. Okay, that wasn't a very good tangent. Okay, so we have a tangent coming out. So we have this point on this outside. So to find this measure in here, x. So when the chords are inside, the sum of the arcs divided by 2 gives you the angle. When they're on the outside, when this point is on the outside, you're going to take the two arcs and you're going to do the difference of the two arcs. Difference of arcs divided by 2 equals the angle. Okay, so if I put some letters in here and I call this G and I call this J and I call this K, if we take arc GK and you subtract arc GJ and you divide by 2, that is going to give you that angle measure x. Okay, so when the chords are on the inside, you're going to take one arc plus the other arc to get the angle measure. When they're on the outside, you're going to take this arc minus this arc, divide by 2, and that'll give you the angle measure. So these are the two big theorems that we're going to be using today. So just to recap, when it was at the center, this was the central angle. Okay, this is the central angle. Then it's equal to. When it is on the circle, this is called an inscribed angle. Okay, and when it's an inscribed angle, it's half of that intersected arc. And now what we just went through is when we have two chords, you add one plus the other, divide by 2. So it's the sum of those intercepted arcs divided by 2. And when it's on the outside, so if we have a tangent and a tangent, it is going to be one arc minus the other arc, because it's the difference of the two arcs, divided by 2 gives you the angle measure. Okay? So that's a quick review. All right, so this is called a circumscribed angle. The two sides are tangent to the circle, and this is called a circumscribed angle. All right, a circumscribed angle and the central angle. Be careful, because it has to be so if we have an arc, an angle out here, and it's at the central angle, so you're at the center, then these two are going to be supplementary to each other. So angle C plus D, angle C and angle D together are going to be supplementary. All right, so I've got about 9 example problems to run through quick here for you. So here we have basically an inscribed angle on what we did yesterday. The vertex is on the circle. So we're going to take 216 and we're going to divide by 2 and we get 108 degrees for this angle measure. All right, STR. So we're looking for this angle. So when they're on the inside, it's the sum 107 plus 99 divided by 2 is going to give you that angle STR. And I think if we do this, if I did my math right, it's 103 degrees. So when it's on the inside, we add them up and divide by 2. All right, number 2. Okay, so we have a secant and a tangent. So this is when we do the difference of the 2 arcs. So we take this arc, 174, minus this arc right here, 98, divide by 2, and that's going to give you your x degrees. And I think I got this one to be 38 degrees. Okay, in the next one, okay, it's on the outside. We have 2 tangents. So this is the difference of the 2 arcs. So one arc goes from here to here, 232, and we have to subtract the other arc. Well, what is this other arc right here? Well, what I'm going to do is take 360 and subtract 232 to get that arc. And then divide by 2, and that's going to give you x. So in here we've got 232 minus, and 360 minus 232, if I did my math right, it's 128 divided by 2. And I think finally I get this to be 52 degrees. All right, we have 2 secants, okay, on the outside. So we're going to the difference of the 2 arcs. So I'm going to take this arc, 108, subtract the other arc, which they have labeled x, divide by 2, and that's going to equal 35. So now to solve this, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So 108 minus x equals 70. I'm going to subtract 108 from both sides. And yes, we end up with a negative number over here, but that's okay because we have a negative x equals a negative 38. And now when you multiply both sides, we're going to end up with this being 38 degrees. Okay. All right, this one actually, number 6, looks very similar to the other one that we already did. So when you find out this arc measure right here, we're going to do 360 minus 116. And 360 minus 116, what's that, 244? So we're going to take that big arc, 244, minus the arc 116, divide by 2, and that's going to give you your x degrees. And I think my math here is 64 degrees for x. Okay. All right, number 7. Okay, I'm looking at ABE, vertex on the circle. So I am going to do 128, and I am going to divide by 2 to find out what that one is. So what do I have? 128 divided by 2 is 64. So I get that to be 64 degrees in here. All right, now what do they want to know? BC. So they want me to find from B to C. Well, let's see. I can do 360 minus that 128 minus, I now need to find the arc EC. C. So what is arc EC? Well, if this is 68, then this arc right here is going to be 68 times 2, and that's 136. So now if I take 360 minus 128 minus 136, that should give me my arc BC. And I think I did my math here, and I got 96 degrees. All right. Oops, skipped a slide or two here. All right, when we're going to solve for y. So this is where we're going to take y plus 95 and divide by 2, and that's going to give me my angle in here. Okay, but I have two unknowns in here. I don't know what y is, and I don't know what that angle is. But this is a linear pair from way back, probably chapter 1. So if we take 180 minus 102, it's going to give me that angle measure that I'm looking for, and I think that comes out to be 78. So I am just going to put in here, instead of that angle, I just found it to be 78 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 2, and then I'm going to subtract my 95. So I get y plus 95 equals 156. Subtract 95, and y ends up being 61 degrees. All right, number 9, be careful, because a lot of kids want to just look at that and say, oh, those are supplementary, but this is not a central angle. So if this is x and we've got our vertex right on the circle, then we should know that this is going to be twice whatever that is. So this is going to be 2x. Now we need to find out what this side from here all the way over here is. So that's going to be 360 minus 2x. Okay, so now to find this, this is the difference of the two arcs. So that red arc, 360 minus 2x. Now I have to subtract the other arc. So minus 2x divided by 2 is going to be equal to that angle measure, and our angle measure here is 30. Okay, so I have 360 minus 4x equals 60. So minus 4x equals a negative 300. Divide both sides by 4, and we get x to be 75. All right. Okay, the big thing that's going to happen, as I was looking on some of your homework assignments, when you take an arc and you subtract another arc, you have to be careful, because sometimes you're going to be taking, let's just say 120, and you're going to be subtracting x minus 2. So please make sure that you do the distributive property here, so that it's 120 minus x plus 2. Okay, so when you're taking the arc, the big arc minus that small arc, and if you have to, make sure that you are using the distributive property here if they need you to. Okay, that is probably the biggest thing on your homework assignment. I think number 10 has it right away, number 14 has it, and there were a couple other ones in there. So please make sure that you are paying attention for that distributive property. All right, that should be it. That is your 10-5 relationships in circles. Good luck.